Hope you all are having a wonderful weekend. Happy Sunday. Welcome to the Loud Excel. This is Celeste Rivas Hernandez and singer David. KTLA is the source of this said information if you need verification. It was uploaded 17 hours ago. Thank you for joining me. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app. Check out my polls on my community page and updates, and also check out my shorts. I will have a short uploaded pertaining to this commentary after the live. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you so very much. Let's see what they have to say, everybody.
In the case of 14-year-old Celeste Rivas Hernandez, whose body was found in the front trunk of singer David's impounded Tesla in September.
David was officially identified as a suspect in the teen's death this week. And now a source that's close to the case says detectives have identified a second suspect, Lindsay Pena.
David's Tesla impounded at a Hollywood tow yard. David was on tour at the time, but police now believe Hernandez was killed last spring. The medical had been listed as deferred for weeks, but now there is no information listed, which means there could be a security hold on the case. Late today, TMZ reporting that Rivas's body may have been frozen, and that can make it difficult or nearly impossible to determine the cause of death. Our request to the medical examiner's office for more information hasn't been answered yet. Now there are reports of a second suspect being named. That information coming from attorney Mark Garagos, who is not connected to the case but says he's talked to people close to the investigation, and they've told him this person could be involved before, during, and after her death.
I think what law enforcement is focusing on right now is they're trying to determine locations, and they have reverse engineered. They obviously know when they found the car. They obviously know when they discovered the remains. They now are reverse engineering the movements of all those who were involved, and they've done it in a very sophisticated way.
Garagos and Harvey Levin of TMZ both confirming independently that investigators are looking closely at a trip that David took to Owens, and all of these developments could mean an arrest is coming soon. Attorney Allison Treasel saying investigators are likely taking their time and being extra careful since this case is so high profile.
This is a high-profile case with a lot of eyes on the LAPD, and they don't want to get it wrong. They should not have to be in any type of a rush because there's no statute of limitations on a murder case, if this is in fact a murder, and the coroner has yet to release the manner of death or the toxicology reports.
As of now, there have still been no charges and no arrests in this case. In the News Center, Lindsay Pena, KTLA 5 News. Back to you guys in the studio.
KTLA is the source. Thank you for joining me. The name has not been publicized. I'd like to know who's talking, because I'm sure the district attorney and the LAPD is not pleased with whomever was giving out information a week or so ago, and now a second suspect has been mentioned due to source information. As I said before in my shorts, who's doing the talking? And is this a relative talking? They're talking to the police and they're giving them this information that we believe that one, David is a suspect, and also that he had help and that the person helped before, during, and after. Do you know how bad that sounds? Is this coming from GPS information from cars, CCTV footage of seeing David in a car, truck with someone, or someone tailing him, or he's tailing someone? What are we talking about? This is bad. Where I have a problem is Mr. Fisher. A lot of people do not like him. He was the first person to bring forward information of sources close to the case, giving out information that David was a suspect, the tracking on a truck. But where there's a problem, Mr. Fisher, is how could a body be frozen for over a month? If the body was put in the trunk July 29th, you have all of August, and then the first week of September when she was in California heat, although the car is dark, the trunk is dark, but there's still heat beating down on the vehicle. I would think in 1 month, no matter how long you were frozen, you would have thawed. So we have a problem here. with this information from Mr. Fisher, placing the car being moved on July 29th. He has verification of the person that moved. What if the body was put into the trunk the week of September, the first week of September? And finally towed to the tow yard, still sat there for 3 days, and then poof, voila, somebody smells something, and the trunk pops open, and there is a chopped up person inside. The latest information is that the torso is intact, the limbs were removed, and they were also chopped up. So help the Queen understand. People are repeating. This is all per TMZ, who have allegedly broke the case. There's something off with all of this information. I'm trying to picture a frozen torso, head missing, arms missing, but not really missing. They're just missing from the torso, but they're chopped up. So you put, let me get this right now. You, whoever you are, David, your friends, cousin, whomever, you cut this child up. Yeah, that's right, a child, 14-year-old child. Thank you, KTLA, for saying that. 14 years of age. Chopped her up, cut off her head, it's somewhere. Chopped off her arms, and froze all that in a freezer. Together, I'm assumingly. And then when you decided to, oops, I gotta go somewhere, put her body in the trunk, allegedly the 29th, but frozen. This ain't making no sense to me either. And I agree with Mr. Strategic Eyes. Please check out his YouTube channel. True Crime with Strategic Eyes. I listened to his content pertaining to this case. Something is off here. Something is majorly off here, because I agree with him. And like he said, hey, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a doctor either. I'm with him. If there's somebody in the medical field or somebody that knows about science, help us understand about a body frozen and decaying plus frozen. I don't even know what I'm saying. Thawing out, rather. Thawing out for a month and a week. So now we have to figure out how she died, who unalived her, where was she unalived, did he have help, David? How many people know about this crime? How many people helped in this crime? When was she placed in the Tesla? Where was her body parts stored until put into the Tesla? See, you got 1,000 questions. I don't know how much of this information, truthfully, that LAPD knows about, but this is bad, bad business. Hello, Jess. This is bad. And many people are going to be questioning Mr. Fisher because you were the one who decided to come forward with this Silence of the Lambs nonsense. And now it's contradictory. Once again, another case where you brought forward information where it doesn't make any sense. The last case I covered about a person being thawed out was in Oak Ridge, Tennessee. This town sits about 30 minutes outside of Knoxville, Tennessee. And I brought you this case of a young woman who was kidnapped, tortured inside of a home with a man and a young woman that he was dating. And also he had a mother and a dog living in the same small, I guess, 2-bedroom townhouse. She was tortured. She was put into a upright freezer, meaning a tall freezer, and sat in, I guess, a kitchen or kitchen area for about 8 months until a young lady decided to tell police the truth about the woman in the freezer. Are you all following me? When police went to his home, which was on a Wednesday, he decided to take that body out of that freezer, which was still a stupid idea, and put her under his bed to thaw out, obviously to hide the body. Well, it doesn't really matter about where you take a body and put it inside of your house, your property. Once there's a search warrant issued, they're going to find the body. And on that Thursday, the police came back with a search warrant and searched his home and found this young lady thawing up under his damn bed. He and his cohort are both incarcerated. They will not be getting out. They are going to die inside. The point I'm trying to make is, this is some crazy SHIT. This is some crazy SHIT. And this is the second case I brought to this network pertaining to a frozen corpse. Now imagine that lady, she was frozen completely. No limbs were cut off, no heads were cut off. She was tortured on her breast. They did torture her breast. But the body was intact, frozen. I'm trying to picture this of Celeste, which I don't want to do. But I'm a human being. So when you're trying to process information, it's what you do. You try to assess what is being said. I don't even know what to think or believe at this point. Now, I'm going to say that the medical examiner is telling the truth, that they received the body from a trunk, the Tesla, David's Tesla, a frozen hot butter mess. She was in something, plastic, tote, whatever, head missing, torso intact, limbs missing, that means her arms, legs, and the arms were chopped up, I guess inside this plastic bag / tote. This is ridiculous. Hello, bro. This is ridiculous. For us to be one talking about a child hanging in the company of a grown man, it's believed that possibly she was in the company of this man at 12 or 13 years of age. That's bad, bad, bad. He would have been a late teen, too old to be hanging with a 12, 13-year-old. Don't really know when she died, how she died, where she died. Now we got this mystery truck out in Santa Barbara County hanging around in the middle of nowhere for hours. Police have to know something to even put David with the truck. Do you understand? Because you're not, as someone said, you're not just going to say, oh, we got evidence that his phone pinged. And first of all, the police still have not given a formal, formal information about the truck, how they know that he was in a truck, how they know, that it was David out there. I'm tired of talking about these type of cases. I really am. I'm tired of talking about children. It's one thing to talk about an adult being hurt, harmed, missing, but a child, no one should ever have to ever say a child is missing, a child was found dead, a child was found murdered. That shouldn't even be on a person's tongue. Nobody should be thinking about unaliving a child. I don't care if it's an infant, if it's a 13-year-old, it's an 18-year-old. It's still a child. Good afternoon, sweetheart. Thank you. What is the truth to this case? I'm ready for the police department to give us a formal statement. And I'm assuming when they bring us the formal statement, that is also when they will be giving us information on a warrant arrest, all of the above, because that's usually how that goes. They bring it all in one press conference. And whoever's been talking, you're no different than these internet sleuths, true crime sleuthers, whatever you want to call them. You should not be putting this information out here, because now Mr. Fish is in a hot seat by running your mouth, because what you have told the public don't align to this child being frozen in a damn car. She was not frozen for no whole month. Now, unless somebody can come forward with some evidence that a person, thing, object can be frozen for 1 whole month inside of a hot ass car, bring me the stats. Bring me the evidence, because I want to see it. I want to document it. Because I was even wondering about, a person being in a trunk wrapped in plastic, how much they would deteriorate. But then I have to use deduction. When you're in a hot climate, naturally the body is going to speed up into decomposing in a hot climate. Then they say the same thing about water. But I thought when you're frozen, you'd be more preserved if you're frozen. Maybe not. No, I'm not a doctor. This ain't good. Hello, Amazing Tiff. This ain't good at all. So, Mr. Fisher, how do you feel about the latest information that she was frozen? You kind of left that part out. Whoever you've been talking to, family members, somebody at the hospital, somebody with the district attorney's office, somebody with LAPD, somebody at the sheriff's office, they left that part out, or that's the part you didn't want to tell us, that she was found frozen. Checkmate. I'm waiting. Did you already know that she was frozen, found frozen, Mr. Fisher? I'm curious. Excuse me. Gotta drink water to stay dehydrated, especially when you're listening to this type of foolishness. I don't even know what to say to you all. Amazing Tiff says SF is always playing games. I find it interesting. He finds himself in these high-profile cases. First, it was the Hawaiian girl, Sebastian Rogers, the Hawaiian lady who went on a escape route to escape the world. Then here comes this case here. This is why they always tell you, and it's an old saying, beware of the messenger. Beware of the person carrying the bone. So, Mr. Fisher, you don't look too good right now, because you have to now explain logically to the masses how a body sat in a car for a month and a week, frozen. So we have to ask ourselves, can you remain frozen for 1 month inside of anything? I'll wait. And who's the best person to ask? IG, Google. And that's what I'm going to do on this live stream. Welcome to Vlog Excel, everybody. Thank you for joining me on this Saturday afternoon, beautiful Saturday afternoon here in East Tennessee, the high 10. Congratulations to the Tennessee Vols. They won their game yesterday against the Florida Gators. It was a very good game. Queen was about falling asleep once again right before it was over, because anytime I eat a little something, I get sleepy, which that's not a good sign. But anyway, honey, Queen was tired last night, but it was a good game, very good game. All right, let's go to Google, everybody. I should have done this before the live, but I like to do it on the air, so. How long does it take for our body to thaw out frozen? Searching. A frozen body takes several days to thaw, typically at a controlled temperature between 38 Fahrenheit and 55 Fahrenheit. The exact time depends on the body's size, and some sources suggest that deeper tissues can take as long as 48 to 72 hours to fully thaw. This slow thawing process is crucial, as thawing too quickly can damage the tissues and lead to decomposition. Did everybody hear that? This thawing process is crucial, as thawing too quickly can damage the tissues and leads to decomposition. Calling Mr. Fisher, Mr. Private Eye Fisher, we have a problem with your information. Exactly, Tiff. In the end, I won't doubt that she was frozen and frozen for a while. Let's just say that, okay? We don't know if she died in January, February, March, April, May, June, July. I don't know. I'm not even here to say. It's one thing I'm not going to do is speculate on how long this young girl was frozen. Where there's a problem is Mr. Fisher putting his 2 cents in this case and putting out this information that he saw a car parked July 29th and believes he saw the person, knows the person, verified the person, and then we found out she was pulled out the damn trunk, what, the 8th of September. This is a problem. So I can't believe anything Mr. Fisher has said. And this is where this is becoming treacherous. Because now you got to go in the belly of the beast once again to say who, where, what, why, how. When was she put in the trunk? When was she unalived? When was she chopped up? Where was she stored? Remember I always said I felt it was a rush job putting her in the Tesla for whatever reason. Going on tour, skydiving, don't give a damn. There's a reason she was put in the Tesla. Now here comes this mess about a tracking on a truck and out in the middle of the desert. That could be any damn thing at this point. That could be anything. He could have went out there to smoke some weed or pop some pills with some friends or have a bonfire in the middle of the fucking desert. I don't know. Don't get me the line. And after I'm looking at who brought the message, it don't really mean anything at this point to me about a truck and a tracking. I'd rather the police come back and tell me information about the truck and the tracking and if he was seen walking, going to the gas station, whatever. But this Mr. Fisher character, I don't want to hear nothing about what he's saying. This is why I keep trying to tell you all, you can't believe everything that people say. Because now this frozen information is contradictory to July 29th. There's no way she was frozen that damn long. They just said, this article says a couple of days it takes to thaw out a body, depending on naturally the size of the body and how deep the tissues are in the body. So naturally, these are the questions that people ask pertaining to this subject matter. So we're going to go down the list of what they're asking. Grace said, that's why I don't pay him no attention. Okay. Tiff says, whenever SF joins a case, he magically finds some undiscovered evidence and ends up blaming the missing person or the victim. Well, we're not going to worry about that, Tiff, because right now, ain't nobody going to blame no child for getting chopped up, hacked up, and put in a Tesla. If she was 35, I'm not going to pass no blame. And I get it. People can do some cruel things to get themselves unalived. But as detectives usually say, no matter the life that the person led, we investigate all homicide cases and nobody has a right to unalive them. Good afternoon, Holly. How you doing? So let's start with what happens to a frozen body when it thaws. Without cryoprotectants, cell shrinkage and high salt concentrations during freezing usually prevent frozen cells from functioning again after thawing. Ice crystals can also disrupt connections between cells that are necessary for organs to function. How long can a body stay frozen? A dead body can be kept in a freezer for several months to years, depending on the temperature and other factors. For long-term preservation, special deep freezing at temperatures below 25 Celsius and 30 Celsius is used, while standard mortuary freezers typically operate between 10 degrees Celsius and 20 degrees Celsius. The effectiveness of the freezer storage depends on maintaining a consistent low temperature and is influenced by factors like local regulations and the conditions of the body, which ain't really telling us nothing. So basically they're just giving you the highs and lows of the temperature of how long I guess you can keep the body preserved frozen. So from 2 degrees Celsius to 4 degrees Celsius, you can preserve a body for 3 to 4 weeks, while a true freezer environment, 10 degrees Celsius to 20 degrees Celsius, extends the preservation to months and years. Once again, body condition. The initial state of the body at the time of death and its size can affect how long it can be preserved. Do you see the things you learn dealing with the macabre? When did this ever become coffee table talk? Well, how are you doing, Holly? Oh, I'm great. Well, did you know a body can be preserved for a very long time, frozen between 10 and 20 degrees Celsius? No, I didn't know that. What the hell? This is ridiculous. Consistent and proper functioning of the freezer is crucial. Fluctuations in temperature can accelerate decomposition. So now we got to ask this question, and this is to the medical examiner, not Mr. Fisher. Mr. or Mrs. Medical Examiner, how frozen was she? I hate to even ask this because it sounds so disrespectful. How frozen was she? Could you chip an ice pick in it and chips will come off? Or you chip away and nothing? You understand what I'm saying? No ice would easily chip. Not, I'm not trying to be disrespectful, but I'm trying to get an understanding. I'm sure when we get a full press conference, they'll explain all this macabreness to us. But I'm just curious because the TMZ report says frozen state. So then somebody gonna ask, well, how frozen was she? Which sounds like a really bad joke. How frozen was she? Something ain't right here. You remember what I said to you all a while back, because you know Queen pays attention to everything. What did I told you all about that car parked around that corner? I told you something wasn't right with the person who put the citations on the car. And I don't do conspiracies, but this versus what I've already said is something ain't right. You went to this car 2 times, 3 times, and you didn't smell death. Is somebody paying attention? Because I got some good listeners out there. Some don't ever comment. But I just said something very important, and I'm trying to see if anybody caught it. You went to the car 2 to 3 times to put citations on it, and you didn't smell nothing in the car. Come on with it, Queen. You took it and towed it, and the tow guy didn't smell nothing. But, here comes the clincher, everybody. Because I know right now I'm going to give somebody some chills up their spine. Somebody went to that car 2 to 3 times to put citations on the car. Because the rule is the car has to get at least 3 citations before it's towed, right? Pay attention now. The meter maid police didn't smell death, number 1. The tow guy didn't smell death when he went to put the tow on the car. I mean, on the flatbed or whatever, on the truck. Pay attention. But yet somebody said they walked by and thought they smelled a dead animal. But then says, well, now I believe it wasn't a dead animal. It was somebody in the car. Well, we now know it couldn't have been her because she was frozen. So how you gonna smell death and it's frozen? Checkmate. Somebody got some hanky-panky going on here. Now, this is the case that gives you chills up your spine and give you nightmares because something's not adding up. Something is not adding up with this case because now the plot is deeper with this frozen business. That means somebody is lying that has been talking to whomever. What did I tell you about the messenger? He said, and she said, and Pookie said, and Ray Ray said, and Karen said it, and Ken said. Where they at now? Because we got a problem. We got a problem because you ain't gonna smell death when it's frozen. Just like if I open this freezer, you see where I'm going with this story? What are you going to smell in this freezer? I guess so, Tiff. I've been wondering about that too. What's this issue about the medical examiner? See, that's he said, she said. Maybe the police are trying to rush. I just read says, depending on the weight of the body, how long it was frozen, it knocks off the cells to where you ain't getting ready to find out what was going on in the body to get a rendering of how she died. And then that fucking head's missing. I'm gone. This is not the topic I want to bring on a Sunday. I had no plans to go live, but once I saw the information last night, I knew when I got up today. It was one thing, Mr. Fisher, and the tracking information. Then here comes, we got a second suspect. Now we're hearing, oh, she was frozen. What else the hell you gonna tell us? Somebody gonna tell us where the head is? Where are her feet and her legs? And what still don't make no sense, Mr. Fisher, Mr. Tattletailer, you gonna come out and give us all this information and getting on everybody's talk show trying to tell us about this girl. Well, where the rest of her body? Where is it at? And if anybody gonna dump a body out in the middle of nowhere, why are we talking about a torso in a Tesla? Somebody ain't listening to me. You would dump the whole body. Whether it's you dump it out there in the middle of nowhere. You don't put half of the body in a damn car, knowing somebody gonna call about the car, some busy bee gonna be like, that car's been sitting there a long time. It's got a lot of pollen on it. It's got a lot of tree limbs on it. I gotta call the police. I give up. Lord have mercy, I give up. While freezing significantly slows down decomposition, it does not stop the process permanently. Our body will continue to break down, albeit very slowly. So 1 minute is saying slowly, then the next minute is saying speeding it up. I don't know what I'm reading. Proper storage is essential for both respectful handling and legal compliance. See, this is for like when you die and research and things like that. We're talking about dirty deeds and freezing people. Will a body decompose if frozen? No, a body will not decompose if frozen. As freezing temperatures halt bacterial activity and enzymatic processes that cause decomposition. However, freezing is not a permanent solution and can cause cell damage over long periods due to ice crystal formation. Proper refrigeration, a step below freezing, can also significantly slow decomposition for weeks. So you see how I'm bringing you different information in the Google search. One says speed it up, one says slow it down. I'm saying that to myself. If she was frozen, she's not decomposed. She's just frozen. But the cells are damaged, of course, in the body. Lord have mercy. Freezing temperatures slow down or halt, as I just said, the biological and enzymatic processes that cause it to break down. That's the enzymes. The low temperature solidifies water in the tissues, preventing bacteria from moving and functioning. Over a long time, the formation of ice crystals can damage cells, affecting the tissue's quality. So we do know that. That's been repeated in everything that I read about the cells being damaged. When a frozen body is thawed, the decomposition process can accelerate because the cellular damage from freezing has created weak points in the tissues. Slow thawing is necessary. To preserve evidence, a frozen body must be thawed slowly in a refrigerated unit, not at room temperature, to prevent the outer parts from decomposing before the inside is thawed. Means when they went to the medical examiner, they have their own special rooms, I guess, to put the bodies, to preserve them naturally so they don't start smelling and everything. So I'm assuming that's what was done to her body. Thaw it out, see what happened to the body, and then naturally what remained is what they gave to the family. Can you imagine that? Nobody's talked about that. What they gave the family. Are y'all hearing what I'm saying? Because if this information is correct about her missing her head and her arms were chopped up alongside the torso, the family got a torso without a head and they got arms that were chopped up. They couldn't do nothing but put her in the incinerator. Who would want to put that in a casket? I wouldn't. Even though I don't really care for putting the body in the incinerator, but when you've got a body in this state, I wouldn't want to put her in no casket like that. That's just me. Lord have mercy, this is sick. So the body cannot be thawed at room temperature, okay? It has to be in a refrigerated unit. Let's go here. How long does it take for a human body to freeze to death? Well, she was already dead. So I probably don't need to give you the answer to that, but it says it can take under an hour to die from hypothermia. And I don't think she died from hypothermia. If you didn't know this, Jean Calment is the longest living verified person to have their body frozen. I give up. Hello, Barbara. If there is a rift between the medical examiner and the police department, what is the problem? Is it because the medical examiner has not determined how she died and the police are, harassing them every day? What is the issue? Will somebody enlighten us? Because we don't want us to get a highfalutin medical examiner who ends up getting frustrated and just says to hell with it. What I would do if I was a medical examiner, I couldn't come to a determination. I would go seek outside help to help me. It's also been said that the medical report is on hold at the moment. And that's possibly because of all this leaking of information to the public about what allegedly is going on in the case. This is ridiculous. That's what TMZ talking about. This is so wicked. Lord have mercy. You know what this reminds me of? We talked about last year, or winter. Well, it might have been last year. The little girl who was put in the freezer and chopped up, and they were carrying her around in a stroller and all that to the job. The daddy was carrying her around to the job. You all know what I'm talking about. He still go to court. He ain't have nothing to say. I'm trying to find a TMZ report. I'm gonna have to go look it up. Let's see. This is some bad business, honey. Bad business. Hello, everybody in the chat. Thank you for joining me. Yes, Harmony Montgomery. Thank you, Country Bumpkins. I talked about that case. Feel free to go back and watch my commentary on that case last year. It was just hard to listen to that woman talk about her relationship, and I won't doubt she mistreated the little girl. She's not gonna get up in court and say, "Oh yeah, by the way, I mistreated her." That's so she can get less time. To me, she's just as guilty. And I talk about this all the time. You walking around here and sitting around here watching somebody abuse a child, you are just as guilty. You know that a child is being beat up, not fed, hungry. It's all the same to me. You are just as guilty. Covering her up in the car, all this nonsense. You know, she wasn't moving. And then y'all moving from place to place, carrying the dead body around, trying to put the little girl down in the drain and the blender and all this old crazy type of stuff. Just foolishness. And she should have got, to me, a lot of time. The girlfriend, wife, or whoever she was. See, TMZ got these long reports. Let's see what he has to say. It's short. 3-minute video, almost 4 minutes.
Celeste Rivas' death. TMZ has learned that her body had been frozen, and when it was found, it was still partially frozen in the back of David's car, and it was in such bad condition that we are told the medical examiner may never be able to establish the cause of death. So here's what we know. When the body was found, it was in terrible condition. It had been decapitated, the torso was intact, been removed, and they were cut up severely. Their body was partially frozen in the trunk, and this is really important because remember, the body had been sitting there for days before it was finally impounded and then the body discovered, and it was still, the body parts were still partially frozen. So we are told that when the body first went to the medical examiner's office in early September, it was listed as an apparent homicide, but that was what seemed obvious, that the body was cut up into pieces. The medical examiner is having a really tough time right now trying to figure out what the cause of death was. We are told it is likely the cause of death will go undetermined because of the condition of the body and the fact that it was frozen and the fact that it was cut up the way it was. So we have told you that we know David is a suspect, and even if it is undetermined, the LAPD can still move forward, as could the LA County District Attorney. The LAPD is viewing this as a homicide. David is a suspect. We know this. And one of the keys to the case is a trip that authorities say David made in the middle of the night back in this spring to a remote area of Santa Barbara County. We are now also told that there is a second suspect, and our information is that the second suspect has something to do with the cutting up of the body. Now, Mark Garagos, who is my co-host on the Two Angry Men podcast, told us in the most recent podcast that his information is that the second suspect is being looked at not just for dismembering the body, but also for what happened before, during, and after Celeste's death. So there is a second suspect that the LAPD has its sights on. They have identified the person. Garriga says he knows who it is, not saying, but it is a second suspect implicated here. So obviously the question, how on earth did this body go from Santa Barbara, if that's indeed where it was taken? And that seems to be the operating theory of the LAPD, that if it was taken to Santa Barbara, how did it end up back in Los Angeles in the trunk of David's car in a residential neighborhood? The only thing that makes sense, and that's months and months later, the only thing that makes sense is that based on connecting the dots, it would seem that this body was put in a freezer for an extended period of time, and it was so frozen that by the time it got in the car, it took a long time for it to unfreeze, and it had not fully unfrozen at the time the body was discovered at the impound lot. So again, It looks like there may never be a cause of death determined by the medical examiner. The body was frozen. Okay, just keep looking at TMZ. We will have more updates as the days pass.
Randall, why is the water white?
Okay. Where do you go from here with this information? Body partially frozen. So I guess it was thawing out by the time the trunk got popped. And as I read your information through Google, it takes a couple of days to thaw out a body depending on the weight, size, so on, so forth. Does the Santa Barbara trip play a role in the girl's demise, dismemberment? Did they take the body out there to dismember it and then bring it back to freeze it? And then it was a rush job throwing her in that car. Or did David get somebody else to go out there and do something to the body and then think they threw the body out, but they kept the body and then put it in his Tesla, as somebody said, to set him up? I don't know. I don't believe that setup stuff. I don't know where this is going. I'm just going to be truthful. But where can it go? You don't even have her head. Where is her? Sadistic to dismember a body. I don't care who you are. But usually people only dismember bodies when they are close to the victim. Strangers have no reason to cut you up, cut off your head, cut off your neck. That's cartel type business, if you understand what I'm saying. Cartel mob do all that, chopping up hands, fingers, toes, and all that, okay? Regular citizens don't do that, especially people who are robbing you, killing you. They leave you where you stand, lay. It's just too much work. The only time people dismember bodies, hide bodies, are people who know the victim. You've seen it 1,000 times with true crime cases. Putting a body in the car to make it look like it had a car accident, pushing it off a cliff or ravine. That's personal. Hiding the body in the cellar, the basement, a shed. That's personal. If a stranger goes into a house to kill a person, they have no reason to clean the house, get bleach, wash clothes, put clothes in a washing machine. You've seen this 1,000 times in cases. Oh, there were clothes in the dryer, there were clothes in the washing machine. The washing machine was going when we got there. Yeah, because somebody that knows the victim put the clothes in the washing machine, clothes in the dryer, threw the clothes in the garbage can. A stranger has no reason to do nothing to the body to conceal the identity. Because if the stranger don't know the victim don't know the stranger, there's no reason to be covering up the body, rolling it in a carpet, putting it in the closet. You see where I'm going? They do their business and then they leave the scene of the crime. Only people personal to the victim, know the victim, do all this rolling in the carpet, hiding bodies, cutting up bodies, spreading the body parts around. Now, you do have one instance of that white guy that did it to the black girl up there in, what was that, Minnesota? Yeah, he was a sick puppy. He invited her over, had planned to kill her after the date, and told a friend about it. Stupid friend never told anybody, which I don't understand. He should have got life too. And he spread her body around a lake. So you have those rare instances where a stranger would cut up a person, okay? But it's very rare. David knew her. He baited this girl, used this girl, had an inappropriate relationship with her. He should be arrested for that. See, I believe in stair-step. You should have arrested him for inappropriate behavior, statutory rape. And then you continue to investigate. Because you'd be surprised how people behave when they are handcuffed and put in a jail cell. I don't care if he has money to bail out, bond out. The point is, he will be a scared chicken. And I think he's a scared chicken. Crazy, perhaps. We also a scared chicken. And he's scared now. Because all this TMZ talk and Mr. Fisher talk, he's scared as hell. And whoever helps him, you're scared as well. And I'd like to know, why would you get involved in doing anything to this young girl. You know David that well that you want to get involved and catch a charge for dismembering her, hurting her, whatever you did to her, chopped her up, took her here, took her there, body parts. You getting ready to go down. And for all we know, that's who's talking. I don't know. But that's usually the person that gets the plea deal. And where are they getting this information? Before, during, and after. Before means before she got dead. Checkmate. Disposal. Are we going to find out that David has a cohort in this crime? Now you'll have to ask, what else has he been doing in his spare time? Because I already told you there was something wrong with this kid. There was something wrong with him. His mindset is demonified. It's in his music. And what did I tell you who are thinking about devilment all day and night? They got to put it to print. And that's exactly what he did. He put it to print. And what'll be even more sad is that he found another demon like him. Also, this other Herrera business, Celeste Herrera, this other Hispanic looking female. David, what's that all about? You want to find somebody to look like her, to make people think she's still the original Celeste Rivas is alive? But anybody that knows Celeste Rivas will know this Herrera chick ain't Celeste Rivas. Come on with it, Queen. So see, that got switched around a little while ago when people were coming up with this video and they thought that was Celeste Rivas, but it was another Celeste. And I think it's interesting that you found another Celeste with dark hair, similar features, also Hispanic. You tend to like Hispanic women. I think that's obvious because you have Hispanic women in your videos. You have some type of attraction to Hispanic women, which that's your business. But where you gonna be going, it ain't gonna be no Hispanic women. Shut your mouth. You're gonna see a whole lot of Hispanic men. And I've already said, I think you got a little sugar in your tank. So you're gonna fit right on in where you're going. Because your ass is going to damn jail/prison. And you can have all the pickings you want, a black, white, Hispanic, whatever you like. Because I think you've been hiding in the closet. I think you're a very confused, bitter individual. And when I was reading this timeline on Strategic Eyes channel late in the morning, all this stuff about you talking about you were depressed and this, that, and the other. What was you depressed about, son? You were depressed about what exactly? Dealing with depression. What you depressed about? What were you depressed about? Were you depressed when you unalived Celeste Rivas? Have you been doing some other hanky-panky with some other children? Because I won't doubt you probably had been messing with other girls. That might have been the reason why she's dead. You two had an altercation. Maybe she read your phone, saw somebody calling, you two got in a fight, one thing led to another, or it was premeditated. You wanted to have somebody to put to print. Because your music and your videos are evident that you have a effing problem, that you're detached from reality, and that pain is all you know. And we already know about people who suffer from pain. They tend to hurt people. What is that what Dr. Phil used to say? Hurt people, hurt people. But you took it to a new level. It wasn't just talking crazy to somebody, talking down to a woman, disrespecting a woman, putting your hands on a woman, trying to control a woman. You unalived a child. Checkmate. Totally different. You had no business fooling with that girl, talking to her. And when she told you how old she was, you for getting in cahoots with this thing. And had it been a 20-year-old or 25-year-old getting in cahoots with David, she wouldn't have known that he's a killer. But she could tell by his music. And I would question a person, why you write this type of stuff? What's the matter? He had to put it to print. I won't doubt that this was all orchestrated to find a victim, find a young girl to bait, seduce, have sex with her, and then unalive her. And then go on another one, Celeste Herrera, and keep it moving. And Ms. Herrera, what are you thinking right now with all these latest developments? You got to be feeling awfully fucked up your damn self. I was in the company of this dude, and I won't doubt you could have done a little more with him too. And I know you can't be feeling really good about David at this moment, and any other female or male that's been in an intimate setting with David. And as for Mr. Fisher, do yourself a favor. Baby, find you another occupation. Find you another occupation, because something ain't right with the information that you have brought forward. If it takes a body only a couple of days to thaw out, your timeline is off with the car parked July 29th, and allegedly Celeste was in that trunk. The timing ain't adding up. You're talking about thawing out 1 month and a week. We're not talking about a 250, 300-pound person frozen. They might take 2 weeks to thaw out. I'm not really sure, but that was in the Google search. Body size, tissue is what determines the thawing process. And she was an itty bitty person. And due to the fact that all of her wasn't there, come on with it, it wouldn't take that long for her to thaw out. Where is Celeste Rivas Hernandez's head? Where are her legs and feet? We learned that she was not pregnant. That's the only thing the medical examiner has told us. Never told us she was in a frozen state, partially frozen. So that's the latest developments coming from TMZ and their source, that she allegedly was partially frozen. How did she get unalived? Where did she get unalived? Who unalived her and why? Did David have help if he's the culprit of unaliving this girl? Why would you unalive a child? Why would you even want to be seducing a child, first of all? Did you get help? Do you have another little dirty bird who acts and thinks just like you? It's going to be jacked up if we find out he found him somebody with a like mind. And this was a trial run, if you get my drift. Because, you know, we have all these underground groups and organizations where people who like to deal with the macabre and child molestation and RAPE, they have their own little underground groups where they talk and share pictures and videos. And I won't doubt if David fits in this category. For all we know, he's been involved with some other dirty birds and memorabilia. And as I told you before, you can best believe this was recorded. Pictures were taken. Oh, yes. He's got some pictures and videos of this crime because he's a visual creature. And visual creatures they need keepsakes. Could be, Tiff. I think there could have been a flock. Exactly. He probably hooked up with some people. They made a pact. I got a victim over here, pretty girl. Let's see what we can do with her. I'm not going to even say be true, because right now with this frozen business and this truck business and Mr. Fisher's 211 information, something ain't lining up. She ain't sat frozen in that car for no whole damn month and a week, because all of her body wasn't in the trunk. So it wouldn't take a whole month to thaw out. They said partially thawed, if we're going to believe Mr. Levin. But Mr. Fisher, you don't need to talk about nothing else. You need to go find you a desk job or a job where you work from home. And it does not involve finding people and helping people find people, or helping people get information of a dead person. Please stop. Just stop it, okay? Let us wait on the police to give us viable information that's been proven and verified. Because now there's a problem with the car timeline, the person who parked the car. And I told you anyway, after the fact, something didn't add up before we got this information about the mystery truck and her being frozen partially. I told you before, something didn't add up with the he said, she said of smelling a dead body by neighbors. Then here comes The person who puts the citations on the car, you don't smell nothing. The tow guy don't smell nothing. But then now you're going to say, oh, we went into the trunk and smelled something. So I guess if she was partially frozen, odors and toxins started leaking out for you to smell the body. I'm going to assume so, since Mr. Levin didn't say she was fully frozen. Something ain't right. Because she was only in the tow yard 3 days. Come on, somebody, pay attention. So what is the truth to this frozen state? What does the Santa Barbara County outing have to do with Celeste Rivas? Because it doesn't add up. If police are trying to tie her demise to this trip out in the middle of nowhere. Well, if you're gonna kill her out there, you should have left her out there. What you bringing her back to LA for? Why are you bringing part of her back? Why are you preserving part of her? Unless he needed a keepsake. Anybody paying attention? And you know you can play dirty games with a torso. And this is not to be disrespectful, but I have to go here to make this mess make some type of sense. A killer wants a keepsake. And if he's a really, really dirty bird, we know he likes children, he probably kept the torso to play funny games with sexually. Bingo card. I know some of you are saying, Queen, wait a minute, this don't make no sense. How he gonna do something sexual? Back to the case I brought to this network. Because some of us were asking the same question with that case. Well, he would chip at the ice to fondle his victim. Are you paying attention? Yes, I know. It sounds very sick. But we're dealing with sick people out here. And that was probably one of the most sick situations I've heard of a corpse hanging around a property freezer, and that Harmony Montgomery situation, carrying a dead kid around in a damn bag. And this case is no different. He probably kept the torso as a keepsake and to play funny games with. And naturally, you can't penetrate a frozen corpse, but who the hell knows? The point is, she was frozen. And I don't think nobody's lying about her being frozen. And she was kept frozen for a damn reason. So this is what you have to focus on. It's what's being said. Why was she frozen? Why was only part of her frozen? Where was she kept frozen? And why was she finally removed from that frozen place and put in this damn Tesla? And where is her head at? Is it somewhere out there decomposed, not frozen? Legs, feet, not frozen. Come on with it. Chopped up arms. Arms removed, but still chopped up. Pay attention. And kept with the torso. Why? Farm equipment, per Mr. Fisher, in its packaging, not used, not open. Who bought them and what was the use for those items? This is a terrible, horrific case. And I always tell myself, the reason why the case sounds horrible is because it is. And we don't know everything. But naturally, if you knew most of the information, it would make some kind of sense, even though it don't make no sense to be talking about a child decapitated and chopped up. But the point I'm trying to make, if we had more information of the who, the where, the why, and even if we don't get the why, but if we get the who, we get the where, it'll all come together. Now, you may never know the why. And frankly, the why is never important. It's only important to the family members or friends because they're trying to understand why anybody would want to kill their friend, their relative. And the one thing I've learned about why people do what they do is because they can. That's why he did it. Because he could. Follow the Queen on the Newsbreak app, the Vault XL. Follow this network on YouTube. Check my community page for said updates to breaking news. Take the polls on my community page. I don't even know what poll I can give you at this moment because I am honestly befuddled. Hello, Wicked. How are you? Thank you, sweetheart. Prayers to the Rivas Hernandez family. Prayers for justice. And prayers for our children, because children aren't good judges of character. And sometimes we as adults, we are not as well. So what you pray for is a discerning spirit if you are an adult and also a child. When something does not feel right, it ain't right. Do your best to walk your way out of there without inciting an argument or altercation as to preserve your livelihood. And then when you get out of sight, you run like hell. This situation could have been avoided had somebody cared enough to know and see what the hell Celeste Rivas was doing with her time, making sure she stayed in her house and went to school. And if she didn't want to go to school and didn't want to mind, want to continue to run away, you placed her somewhere where she could be monitored 24 hours a day. Do you understand what I'm saying? She needed to be in a facility. She needed something. Now, I don't know what her home life was like, but she needed proper management and she did not get it. And that is why she's not here. Running from something to something. And she found death. And this is why you have to be careful about the company that you keep. And I always tell you, you can be a victim your damn self. You get in the wrong company, you be in the wrong place, trouble decides to knock on your door, it's all she wrote. Don't ever think something bad cannot happen to you. This is a terrible case. And I'm really scared to hear the next bit of information pertaining to Celeste Rivas. But I want justice served, and I want this Black creature off the street. I don't care what his problems are. I don't care what his mom and daddy did to him. He knows better. A lot of people have had a terrible upbringing, but you don't go out here and start hacking up people. RAPING children. Hell no. That's my commentary. Like, share, subscribe. Drop your comments below this video. And if you'd like to donate to this great network, $Big Angie 129 Cash App. Stickers and chats are always welcome to the live stream. Thank you for those who joined this live. Please watch the replay if you don't have time to watch. Thank you for joining me. I will upload a short after this live pertaining to the information I just brought you. And all I can do is say, pray that justice is served and pray for our children. Thank you so much. You have been listening to the Vault XL. Thank you.